Hello and welcome back to another video. My original idea for this video was just a quick 30-second video saying if you're going to cycle Formentor out to the lighthouse, really only go and do it in the off season and it's a much more enjoyable experience. So after my last trip out there, I decided I'd make the video just a tiny bit longer. So I hope you enjoy some of this footage and some of the spectacular views on the way out to the lighthouse. Well, every ride starts with getting your bike from the garage. And nice clean bike all waiting for me. Now we've left base and we're heading out through the small streets of Palencia as we're going to head down to the port and then start the first climb. The road from Palencia down to Port Palencia, and before you start the first climb, is actually a nice cycle. It's pretty much straight and at a nice little incline, so you get a good speed up and you're feeling fresh before you hit the first climb. Now I'm bringing up the Strava segment for the first climb, and I always take this segment quite easily because I know what the day has ahead of me. And the segment I do is basically 5.5 kilometers at an average gradient of 6%. And that takes you from the foot of the climb up to the car park and the viewing point, and then up a little gravel road to another old viewing point. Now I'm going to show a couple of pictures here of this viewing point, and this is well worth doing. One caveat though, the road is in terrible condition and it's more suitable for mountain bike stroke gravel bike. Some of the potholes are quite deep. If you cycle into them, you'll break your wheel potentially. And so you got to decide for yourself whether it's worth the risk. But it is a beautiful, beautiful climb. And I'll roll some video clip now of it. At this stage, we have already reached the top of the Col da Creta. And at the car park, we have taken the right turn up the old dirt road towards the old defence tower at the top of this hill. And as you come around this corner, you can start to see some of the great advantage points out to the left and how great the view is. So whilst the road is absolutely terrible, the view is absolutely spectacular. And there you go, nearly down another pothole. At the top, you can see some of the crew waiting for me. And there on the right, there's the defence tower, which you can walk up to. But don't try it when you're wearing your cleats, because it's, you'll end up falling. Okay.
Right on, man. Right on. Right on, man.
Now we're on the way back down, and as we go around the corner, you can start to again appreciate some of the views from this climb. And look at the sun shining there in the distance and the water ahead of you. And for me, this is just spectacular countryside, spectacular views. The surface, yes, the surface is terrible and you don't want to go down a pothole and over the edge. Now these two buildings that we're passing through now are where the segment ends when you're coming up the climb. So if you're doing an effort up, you can just stop your effort once you get to those buildings. Spectacular. My only word. Once you've descended back from the gravel road and that top lookout down to the initial small parking area and viewpoint, we take a right turn and we descend for a few kilometers on the way towards the lighthouse. Once you arrive at the bottom of that first initial descent, you come to a car parking area where the cars have to park for peak season and then take a bus out to the lighthouse. Thankfully, as cyclists, we can just keep going out. Now, as you start the road from that big car park, it starts to go on an uphill incline. And you got to start working here because it's a little bit deceptive. And here's a photo of me on Aurelian's wheel. He has come back to drag me back to the bunch. And that's simply because I've decided to conserve energy as I know what's ahead of me. Now as we continue on this road, the climbing starts. And I'm going to roll a clip here, and you can see the two guys in front of me, and they're starting to struggle a bit. And it's only because it's a kind of a road that's deceptive. You think it's going to be, quite easy. And in general it is. But if you put any kind of effort into it, your legs at the end of the cycle will be much tighter than you expect. At this stage, you start to feel like you're making good progress towards getting to the lighthouse. Great sea views on your left-hand side and lovely rock formations ahead of you. Now, the tunnel ahead is quite spectacular, and you'll see a better video of that when I descend it on the way back. But take a look at the entrance on the left-hand side and you'll see a staircase going up the side of the mountain. Now, you will never find me walking that with such a sheer drop down to the left. Well, I'd nearly corner it off. And it's nice to be descending again after the climb up through the tunnel. And here I'm just enjoying myself, freewheeling and taking in the spectacular views. And now another short uphill before we descend into the sun. As we go around the corner now, we finally get the money shot. The lighthouse comes into view and all our hard work of the day is paying off as we descend this great road. And you can see I'm so relaxed on the bike, just watching my shadow as I freewheel down. And no matter how many times you cycle this road, it's breathtaking. And all the better that it's just myself with a few other friends enjoying this cycle. Because on some occasions when you come around this bend, all you will see is cars piled up. So instead of freewheeling now like I am, you'll be stuck behind cars. People that think they can come out here and get to the lighthouse easily and enjoy a good view. But so many people think the same. It just becomes uncomfortable here, and at times I've had to get off the bike on this stretch to get in between the cars as they sit there wondering what the hell have they done, and their tempers get bad. But on a bike it's beautiful, and even better in off-peak season like we have now. And shortly going to be able to see the gates, nearly like the gates into heaven, but it is spectacular. Look, the gates, the sun shining, and you've just arrived at the lighthouse. Now here I am at the lighthouse, taking the obligatory selfie. What do? I'm a tourist. We take selfies. Now it's time to start a return journey back to Palencia from the lighthouse and see all this great scenery in the opposite direction. Now we're leaving the lighthouse and we're freewheeling down the climb. Hey, two pedestrians there on the left. You'll notice we've really passed very few people and only maybe a handful of cars. But look at this, freewheeling into the sun, looking over the sea. It's really perfect. And this is a descent that I just want to enjoy and take in magnificent scenery. The terrain is so different than anything I cycle at home that I just want to enjoy this experience. There are plenty of other descents for flying down, doing your best possible fastest time, but this is one to enjoy. Now we start to climb again, but that's Mallorca. Climb and descend, climb and descend. Now we're heading back towards the tunnel, and I've let the rest of the group go ahead so I'd get the opportunity to cycle through this magnificent tunnel all by myself. No pedestrians, no cyclists, no traffic, get to experience it all by myself. And it was really quite an experience. I did have 1 or 2 drops of water fall down on my back, but that was quite nice. And you know, I just so enjoyed the peacefulness of this. I'm back out, bit of a glare, but had good sunglasses on, so all is fine. The view down to the right is also quite spectacular to the water. The camera didn't capture any of the image down to the right to the bay. You'll just have to go here yourself and look at it to take in the beauty for your own eyes. Now we're back nearly where we started, on the top of the first climb, and this is a lovely descent back down towards Porto Palencia, because just look at that, look at the views ahead of you. You can see right across to the far side of the bay, and this road is a good road and you can get quite a good speed on it, but most of the year it's really too busy with buses, cars, cyclists and pedestrians. But on an occasion like this, it's really a great descent and really fun, because it's relatively safe as descents go, once obviously you don't overcook it. And yeah, but maybe you should just enjoy the view instead and just freewheel down, because how often do you get to see this kind of scenery wherever you cycle? Now on the far side of the bay, there is another small climb called La Victoria, which is one of my favourites on the island, and that's because it's short and steep, and one I like to try and do a good time on, because it's quite similar to the climbs we have back in Ireland. And hopefully by the time the end of 2025 comes, I'll have been back there and shot some footage of it and do a short little video covering it. Now we've arrived back in Palencia and we just cycle back towards our base. But in conclusion, the cycle from Palencia to Formentor and the Lighthouse is one of the most spectacular you'll ever do. But where possible, do it in the off season, because for me it's certainly the most enjoyable time to do the ride and to enjoy the scenery. So take care, and I'll speak to you again in another video. Bye.